Oh, yeah. We're back at it, everybody. We're here on another episode of the Cain Stevens Super Show, and I'm your superest host, the host with the most, Cain Stevens. Man, I've been doing a ton of more stuff. Did an investigation with Bryce of a uh, haunted house in the Arnold Heights Airpark area, and man, we we had real equipment and did the whole legit thing, and we had some pretty crazy stuff happen there. So I can't wait to kind of I think I'm gonna do an episode with Bryce and also with one of the daughters of the homeowner that was also there. And we're gonna make it happen. I'm gonna have them on to do a little interview. I do want to say that this show in general is not a full blown. It's not the Cain Stevens Paranormal Super Show, but I'll be darned if I'm not fully into it. And I know people like that. So I do have other guests coming, musicians, people with different walks of life. We're going to do some other stuff. But man, I've just been hitting it hard with the paranormal stuff. So bear with me. I hope you like it. But man, we have had some crazy stuff happen. Also, today, as I'm recording, we decided to go on a family trip, and we are not your typical family, like me, my kids, and my wife. We're definitely the oddities, but we love haunted stuff. We love watching haunted shows, ghost shows, all that stuff. So they're super into the fact that I'm doing paranormal investigating, and I just so happened to meet a really awesome guy and a group of paranormal investigators who would allow me to use their super awesome equipment, SLS camera and EMF detectors and all that. And I have some of this stuff too, but man, it's been awesome. So I hope to share a lot of this evidence with you guys on my YouTube and different things. So I'm combing through it right now. It's going to take me a while, but I've got a lot of different things to share. So, but me and the family, we decided to go on a road trip to the old Villisca, Iowa, the site of the Villisca Axe Murder House. I've been there a couple times. I have a prior episode, I believe, on some earlier episodes from past podcasts on there. You can check that out. Me talking about Villisca and probably fumbling through some of the history and all that. But I can't wait to do, now that I'm better at this, do a more proper, whatever, a proper history and my thoughts on who done it, who I think did it. So, we had so much fun. It just so happens that my wife is related to one of the women who Donna, it's her name, who is she was apparently having an affair with the dad who got axed in that house for the whole and that she was also, I think she was a suspect, and her husband at the time was a suspect in her family. So I mean, big ties. Well, we just happened, my father-in-law gave me some letters from Donna to their family, and they know I was pumped. So we brought those as trigger objects, and the people who were there were super pumped, like the people who kind of like lead the tours and everything were super pumped about it all. And my wife became an instant celebrity. So, if you're in the Villisca area, my wife is the beautiful lady that was with me that that she became an instant legend in the eyes of the people there. So, my wife is now a Villisca, Iowa celebrity. So, there's always that. But man, we had a great time. We got some things, that crazy stuff happened I took equipment in with us to kind of share the joy of paranormal investigating with my kids. And man, we just had a great time. I love my family so much, and I'm very blessed to be able to do all this type of stuff. It's just, man, it's just so much fun. I just want to say, I'm trying to make the best of every day. Every day's a gift. And if you're, I know life is tough. Trust me, I've had so many hardships in my life. But the number one thing that I've found with all my heart problems and everything is you have to live every day like it could be your last, because you never know if it is. And I know that that's such a cliche thing, but I'm telling you, if you live that way, you'll get so much more out of it. And I'm just getting so much out of time with my family and just doing all these amazing things. And I thank God every day that I'm here here blabbing to you guys. So thank you. Just thank God for all that. And I'm so thankful for all you that are listening. It seems like we got the grassroots movement going. We're doing it, and doing it. I don't know about well, but we're we're doing it. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. I've got a great guest lined up here for this episode. I'm This is another super guest. We're lining them up, and it's just awesome. But I don't want to waste too much time. I don't even think we're gonna do a new segment on this one because there's just so much content there. So without further ado, if that's even the right word, I want to introduce and play my interview with Heartland Paranormal from the Lincoln area, their paranormal investigations, the founder and lead investigator of Heartland Paranormal, Jason Faust. So here's the interview. I hope you enjoy it, everybody. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. This is the Cain Stevens Super Show once again, and I am your host with the most, I hope, Cain Stevens, and I've got a super guest for the Super Show today. I'm super excited, and I'm really happy to have Jason Faust from Heartland Paranormal on here. So I'll give him like not necessarily a standing ovation, but like, a round of applause. Thank you, Jason, for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Man, I'm super excited to talk to you. I'm kind of building a hopefully small friendship with you here and there as we talk more. And, I'm just kind of like blown away that I get to talk to people like yourself because I'm so into the paranormal. And I kind of told you about some of my personal experiences, but I got to do a investigation last night, very amateur, but an investigation with a lot of not amateur equipment. I was given equipment to use, shown how to use it, and away I went. But on this house that I was at, there was a lot of weird stuff that happened. But I'm not going to go ahead and say, yes, of course it's a ghost. Yes, this place is so haunted. We need to burn the place down and all of that. But tell me more about what you do in your, in the field, and just tell me a little bit about yourself in the paranormal world.
What I do as with Heartland Paranormal, I do a lot of consultation with people out of their homes. They'll call me up. I don't find it necessary most of the time to actually visit the home, which sounds weird. Excuse me. I will talk and inform them the best I can of what to do, and how to handle whatever they may have in the home, because most of the time, almost exclusively, it's something that they can coexist with. And so over a series of phone calls or continually communicating with people who contact me, I just get them comfortable with coexisting with energies within their home.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I do a lot of education with the paranormal. I do a program called Investigator for a Day, where I do with people with disabilities, and just anyone can do an Investigator for a Day. But my first and foremost focus is people with disabilities who normally wouldn't have a chance to go to these big name locations, people who are low income, any kind of, underprivileged type stuff. And then I take them and then just educate them on the paranormal. I do a lot of events for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. I even do birthday parties, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So education about it is a number one thing for me, because I want the paranormal to shift from being a pseudoscience to being an accredited science, a recognized science. And so after all of the education stuff, I do a lot of research and finding answers for why things happen.
Right.
And then chalking it up to either it's a paranormal or it's a psychological or scientific type fallacy that makes it weird.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, it's kind of a weird stigma with paranormal. Is a lot of people who, like ourselves, who are very interested in it. People are quick to try to say, they try to say mental illness or so, like, oh, you're not experiencing any of this ghostly activity. Maybe you just want it to happen, or maybe it's a haunted house effect. And that is true, but they want to call a lot of us kooks, or, they'll use the term tinfoil hat type stuff and all that. And
Yeah.
we're all familiar with that. And it's okay. I mean, people's opinions I mean, they're welcome to their opinion, and that's all right. I'm happy. I have plenty of opinions myself that people probably don't appreciate. But the thing is, I feel like you're doing a good service. You're friends with Taden Bundy, right? Is his last name? And he was the writer of Beyond Lincoln, I believe was his book. Mm-hmm. And which, by the way, was a very cool book. Like Taden used to live like a stone's throw away from me. Like I could literally throw a stone and probably hit his house if I threw hard enough. But I got it. I walked over there. I bought his book from when I found out he lived close to me. He was supposed to do an interview with me, but it never worked out. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. But I was interested because, like, Guide to the Ghost of Lincoln, for example, by Alan Boyd, that book really blew my mind as a kid who was already interested in ghosts and the paranormal. And then to see like another author came out with something I feel equally as cool, was really, really awesome. But then, like kind of I forget how you and I came together. Maybe I contacted you through, through different things. I contact a lot of people about the paranormal. But man, it's been cool to talk to you, and you do have some really reasonable theories on, and most of this stuff can be explained, and while we can get into that more, a lot of this stuff on TV is completely ridiculous. It is, however, entertaining. Of course, everybody likes a ghost story. Everyone wants to be entertained, but is it really demonic possession all the time? Is it really, guys getting their shirts ripped off of them? And no, it's not. But I mean, tell me more about like a real investigation for those who have never been on one. What's a real investigation like? I mean, what happens usually?
A real, true, legit investigation is not what you see on TV. It is when you're seeing the TV show, you're seeing retakes and second, third, fourth, fifth, I mean up to like 10, 12 takes. When we go on location, just say Malvern Manor, Lisk, Iowa, whatever, you go in and there's a lot of wandering around. There's a lot of, you go from room to room and you might sit in a room for 40 minutes to an hour hoping to capture something or stir something up. I purposely avoid the word provoke.
Yeah.
We stay as far away from provoking as we possibly can. But you can go and have a place for Malvern Manor. I think you end up with a place for, I think like 12 or 13 hours. You could go that full 13 hours and literally twiddle your thumbs the entire night.
Yeah, and have nothing happen. Right?
Yeah. And then you could go there on another weekend and not be able to sit down. There's so many noises or weird things happening that you're kind of like, whoa, I need a break, Yep. Now, I'm not saying all those noises and everything is paranormal, but it gets you thinking, it gets you moving. And it's a fun night. But yeah, like a real investigation, we spent a lot of time moving from room to room. You, like I said, you stay in a room for anywhere from like 20 to 40 minutes, running EVP sessions. Now we do I explained to you about our EVP sessions.
Yeah.
We don't use the SB7 or SB11. We use just regular video or audio recorders no background noise, no white noise, anything like that.
Yep.
And we just do like little short burst sessions. Another thing that we do is that we set up audio recorders throughout the building and let them run all night. And we don't always capture anything. We rarely capture anything, but we have captured audio that has actually like really freaked us out.
Right.
And I don't say freaked us out in like a bad way, like we're scared. It's like freaked us out, like, holy cow, that has to be paranormal. And
Yeah.
to this day, a couple audio things that we've captured, we just have not been able to explain.
Right.
And so, yeah, it can be really, really boring, you know.
I imagine. I mean, it's not like at all. I mean, like, for example, we were investigating a house in Airpark last night in Arnold Heights, which for those of you listening who aren't in Lincoln, it's in West Lincoln. It's former base, former military base and all that housing. And there's a lot of reports of paranormal out there. So myself and Bryce, who's kind of my, friendly tattooed sidekick, I guess. We went rolling in there as amateurs with a bunch of equipment, and we just wanted to say for the record, we're not there to stir things up. We're not provoking. We're not screaming, come on the whole time. But we just want to corroborate what everybody's saying with all these instruments that people say are legit instruments for this type of thing, EMF detectors. And so like all of this equipment, for example, I mean, how valid is it? Like, especially, I was an electrician for 20 years. I understand what electromagnetic field is and all that really well. I feel like I'm competent enough to use the device and to discern for myself what could be causing the electrical and what could not. I would say, I would even make an argument that I was in the field long enough that I could be considered an expert as anyone else could. I mean, that's a long time in a field.
Yeah.
So, when we get high EMF spikes in places where, you have a base of 0 or you have a base of 0.3, and it spikes to, spikes at times for no reason at all, as you're asking questions, to like 1 point something or more. Is that considered to be, would that be something that would be alarming to you, as maybe something could be happening, especially if there's multiple meters doing the exact same thing without touching each other, being near each other, or other devices?
I would say, yeah. When I'm using like EMF, I prefer to rely on like a REM pod or a Mel meter.
Yeah.
When typically people see EMF, it's usually on a live video or something on, Facebook, YouTube.
Right.
And people have their phone right in front of a K2.
Yeah.
And so obviously, that's going to make the K2
go nuts. Yeah.
But if I take my K2, like I did an antique store, an antique shop, I don't know, several years ago. I think it was like maybe 2017. It was right before COVID. But I took my K2 around that shop, found out where the hot spots were as far as the electrical lines, gas lines, all that. And where she felt a lot of the energy was, I took my Mel meter and just sat it up right there, knowing it was away from any of the service lines.
Yeah.
And so as I'm walking around the antique store or whatever, I check on a Mel meter and see, the milligauge read out. And the base was 0.0. And after about checking on it a couple times, 2-3 times, I come back and it's just spiking. I mean, I think it got up to like, I want to say it was like the highest it went was like 22 or 24, something like that.
Wow.
That's a big spike when nobody's near it or touching it or anything, and it's been stationary the entire time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that did ping in my head, like, whoa, what is going on here? And it did that several times where it dropped down and then come back up.
Mm-hmm.
And asking different electricians about it, there shouldn't be any reason for it to do that if it's stationary.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do I automatically say that it's paranormal? No. But do I have an explanation for why it did that? No.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's how you look at it, really, right? Is you can't just rush and say it's a ghost for sure. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, unless I'm physically touched by something that isn't there, or I physically see an apparition in front of me or something, I can't say for sure that there. And I can't even say that. That's the thing is, I have been physically grabbed on the ankle, pulled back, and I can truly say in this house that I will say without a doubt that. But then I lie to myself, and I'm just so skeptical about it all, and I'm like, I can figure this out. Something happened, but I can't explain that.
Right.
I can't explain the feeling of a full hand on my ankle pulling back, and I'm a fairly large guy as well. So I mean, you're gonna have to pull pretty good.
Right.
But we can't go running into these places and saying that but it is very interesting, and that's what we had. We were also using REM pods. We were using the legit, the big REM pod. And all that, and we did in a couple different instances. We did have, we caught it on camera and everything, where we're asking questions. We did have something as we moved away. I was very careful, set off the REM pod, and that was interesting considering we were getting SLS hits right there, and our meters were going off, all corresponding. And of course, I was trying to be as careful as possible. And granted, everybody makes errors. We're human beings, but I tried to keep devices away from each other. I did, field tests to see what would set this off if you're next to it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't, but it is very interesting. Like, what would cause that sort of thing? What would cause a REM pod if you don't know what a REM pod is, look it up. I can only describe it as a, fairly decent sized cylinder with multiple lights on it and an antenna. And what it reads temperature, right? Or it fluctuates with temperature, and also if you touch it, it causes it to go off. Right?
And it's based off the premise it's supposed to pick up like EMF pulses.
Yeah.
And it's a proximity sensor.
Yeah.
And here's my problem with that. And then I do like the REM pod, but it needs to be monitored when you're using it. And so if like Velisca, you've been to Velisca?
Yes.
So their parlor, if you set it on the table where the Bible is by the kitchen, and then you walk across the floor of the parlor,
mm-hmm.
that floor is, 100 over 100 years old. It shakes.
Yeah.
That shakes the table, that shakes the REM pod, and then it's gonna make the squeal.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have it on something sturdy. And then my other thing about the REM pod, why you need to monitor it while you're using it, it's a proximity sensor. If a fly lands on the antenna, you're going to get a squeal.
Yeah.
So there's a false positive right there.
Of course.
The REM pod, what was interesting about that, we did a farmhouse out in Plainview. It was a family that now uses the house strictly as like storage for like cattle, like the medicine supplies and stuff for their cattle yard.
Yeah.
And because nobody will stay in the house, they gave the okay for one of their farmhands to stay in this house, and the guy apparently didn't even make it a whole night. He tipped out middle of the night and was like, I'll pay for a hotel room in Plainview or Norfolk before I stay in this house any longer. So we were like, yeah, we want to be there. So we went out there, and what was really weird, I had a camera trained on the REM pod. We had 3 digital voice recorders going throughout the house.
Mm-hmm.
We went out to dinner and just left this stuff going with nobody in the house, see what we'd pick up. We came back. I think we were gone 1 hour and 45 minutes roughly. We came back and we thought, well, we'll review some of this audio. And the camera, we clicked off the camera, we clicked off the REM pod, and we started going over the audio. And one of the recorders that was upstairs, we started playing them at the same time. And the one that was upstairs starts, I can hear a REM pod squealing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go look at this camera and see what made it squeal.
Right.
So I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, the REM pod never went off. The lights never shined, anything. There's no audio of the REM pod on the camera squealing or nothing. And then the other recorder that my friend Craig Downey, who is kind of getting to start in the paranormal field, that one was in the dining room, which was just off the living room where we had the REM pod set up. That wasn't showing, like, there was no audio of the REM pod on that recorder.
Yeah.
But it was so weird because this one recorder was picking it up. And it was like, there's no evidence of the REM pod ever going on.
That's very strange. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really strange. And so my next step was I combed the whole house, see any, smoke detectors or carbon dioxide detectors or anything. Well, there was 2 of them in the house, but no batteries were in either one of them.
Oh, wow.
So it was like we could not figure out why that one recorder picked up REM pod squeals.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very strange.
And so that's why we keep the camera trained on the REM pod.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you leave the location or go outside or whatever and you hear something like that, you want to know when and what made it light up. And that was the purpose that night. But it was like the noise was there, but there was nothing that indicated that it ever went off. And it was crazy.
And that's a true testament of what can happen for all the amateur paranormal investigators out there, is that you will have things like that you can't explain, but you then again you still can't go out and say, yep, definitely haunted, go running out screaming, have a homeowner or business owner freaking out. There's a certain amount of what I want to say, the quorum of being calm that has to be done if you're going to do this sort of thing, right?
And that's actually one thing I want to say about doing residential cases.
Yeah.
It's kind of a misconception when people call me and they're like, I need you to confirm that my house is haunted. Well, there's no way that I can do that. I could come and spend time in your home and witness activity and then give you my opinion.
Right.
That you have activity, and there is a difference between haunted and having activity.
Yeah, for sure.
But I could give you my opinion on that. I could also just listen to what you have to say and the things that you experience, and then give you information on it and let you make up your own conclusion.
Yeah.
Because that's, you're even you not, like, say if somebody's not into the paranormal field at all, never done an investigation, never read a book about it or whatever, but you're having experiences that are unexplainable, I'll help you understand the experiences and stuff, and I will not call you crazy or a kook or anything like that. But I'll help you understand it and let you come up with your own conclusion, because honestly, my opinion is no greater or anything than yours is.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, they have to live there, so they really have to, for one, what's their reasoning for why they want to know if it's haunted? 2, if they already believe that it's haunted anyway, you're just giving your opinion. They may not be happy with the idea because they're already in love with the idea that it is haunted for whatever reason. Maybe they want it out, but yeah, it's not for us to say it's absolutely haunted. You need to get out of the house immediately type thing. Like, I mean, I'm not equipped to say that, and I'm not saying there aren't people. Maybe there are people who are so legit, but I mean, we're all kind of fumbling through this, aren't we? I mean, no, it's a science, right? And that's how we should look at it. We're exploring the science of the whole thing. Which, speaking of science, since we're talking about instruments, what do you make of the SLS camera? I mean, the SLS. So the SLS that we were using was not an app. Okay, it wasn't a. We could talk all day about how much I don't trust almost all the ghost apps that you see, but so we're using the one with the Windows tablet, and the you got the nice handle, and it's hooked up to a power source, and then you have the Connect on there.
Right.
And it has all different modes. It has SLS. It has well, yes, SLS, but it has like infrared and all that type of stuff. And we were getting a lot of very strange SOS hits in this house in spots, and I'm talking small, big figures. I mean, just wild stuff. But I mean, what? It's a millions of balls of light pointed at something, and so the theory is that if something breaks that plane in some way, shape, or form, and it has joints, or it goes off of the Connect system, like from the Xbox 360, a really cool system. It picks you up just fine. A human being, you can do a little dance on it. It'll see your joints moving. But why would something appear in that manner? I mean, like multiple figures behind us, around us. I mean, granted, trust me, there's false positives. There's things that may be catching that we don't understand what it's picking up on. But like, why would it be moving around with us, or not even necessarily following us or interacting with us, but appearing, like say on the wall or appearing up in the ceiling? Do you have any theories on the SLS camera?
I really don't. When it hit the scene, I truly didn't give it much credibility from the word go.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big equipment guy.
Yeah.
I did go out and try just using a laser grid for still photography. I never captured any kind of photographs with a laser grid. The biggest kind of paranormal type activity that I feel I ever got was being able to test the energy drainage theory.
Yeah.
Because I could go and play with my dog with the laser grid and have it work for 3-4 hours.
Right.
I could go on location and then have the laser grid drain in 10 minutes with brand new batteries in it. My thing with because it's the same concept of how the SLS works,
right?
Is that those points of light, but it hit the scene and it seemed like everybody and their dog had to have one. And when I would watch them work, one of the main things that like threw me off was so many of the images, or the like, I guess you'd call them stick figures. That's how they were picked up on the screen. If a energy was picked up on the screen, they were always headless, and they always looked like they had Tourette's.
Right.
Because they're like moving in such erratic ways.
It's like watching Michael Jackson dancing on each one,
Right.
Like, they're doing the moonwalk across the screen. It's wild. Like you see some crazy stuff in this thing.
Well, and so if you're out there with your friend doing it and you walk in front, it stays on you pretty well,
Absolutely.
But then why does it look like the whatever energy or ghost, whatever you want to call it, when they walk across it, all of a sudden it becomes so spastic?
Yeah.
I mean, can ghosts just not control themselves? I don't know.
It's very odd.
Throws my mind a little bit. And so that piece of equipment, I just never really bought into it. I'm not saying that it's, a terrible piece of equipment. Just personally, I never really bought into it. It could be a totally legit thing, and I could just be being foolish over it.
I don't think you're being foolish. I think you're looking at it clearly. I mean, there's the saying, "What if it's too good to be true? It probably is."
Right.
And that could be the situation. I mean, the guy that I borrowed it from said it was about $1,000, for all of the equipment. And so it's like it comes with a big old hard case and all this cool stuff, and it's just like. I mean, whoever made it, if it's like big in the field, well, they hit their bit mother load, right? They got people buying them everywhere.
So have you ever used the FLIR?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so here's a piece of equipment. I haven't bought one. They're really expensive. I'd love to have one.
Yeah.
And the actual like military grade ones, which I think are like $1,000 or a couple grand to get one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Bear with me here. So those I think would be great to have in the field, because I've seen a couple pictures that have just blown my mind. So I've had friends who have kind of like the heat vision cameras, not FLIRs, but they're really cool because, like, okay, you lean on a wall with your hand up on the wall.
Yeah.
Take it away. They take a picture. The residual heat from your hand on the wall makes that glow, right? So you have this cool picture there. And so one picture pops into my head where they took a picture off the camera off the FLIR, and or FLIR. I've heard people say the acronym like however you want to say
I
it.
always say it in my head as FLIR,
Yeah.
however we say it, yeah. FLIR is good though.
But anyway, so there's one picture that always sticks out of my head that makes things seem legit.
Yeah.
So there was a guy that was like laying down on a bed on location, and they were snapping pictures, and there was like 3 pictures of him on this bed, and all 3 pictures of him laying down were, normal body heat, like the core was red, and then he had the yellow, whatever. Which is weird that I was able to see the differences. I'm red green colorblind.
Oh wow!
So it's a little weird that I'm seeing the variations on there. Then the 4th picture they took was of him sitting up, and then here comes the opposite. As he's sitting up, there was a blue handprint on his chest, which meant cold.
Interesting. Yeah.
So it was like, if that was faked, how did they do it?
Right.
Somebody had to have like really, really cold hands.
Yeah.
But there was a handprint like on his chest over one of his pectoral muscles that was blue.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about energies, cold spots, whatever. It's really kind of cool. It's like,
yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
And so like that's why I like temperature gauges. I would love to have an FLIR,
absolutely
reader. Because that would prove to me what is in the room with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So
because you can't really mistake the signatures that are happening. The things that are coming up, like the heat signatures and the cold. That's kind of unmistakable. Is literally a device engaging on that sort of thing, and it's right there in front of you. It's cool.
Right, exactly.
No, that would be cool to have. I know that they have like a lesser. I know one of the pieces of equipment that we had was like a smaller thermal gun that you can click on and off and save the photos and everything. But I didn't really get anything remarkable on that. But I'm also not very well trained on that piece of equipment either. So honestly, it was kind of like a monkey holding anything. So that's probably how I would describe everything that I do in anything. Is it's basically just a large monkey or gorilla holding things. Like me as a musician, here's a monkey holding a guitar. Last night it was a monkey holding supposed scientific ghost equipment. But I take it for what it is. I'm like I said, it was a really cool investigation. I'm obviously a little tired. We went from 10 to 2.
Yeah.
We talked afterwards, of course, because everyone's jarred and excited at the end.
Absolutely.
So you don't get to bed till almost 4. And that's the thing people don't understand too is, say what you will about us. And this to me is my former life before all this, before I had heart problems. I was a musician. I played in bars all the time. And it's funny to me now, like here I am, same hours as I used to do, 9 something to 2 a.m. But instead of filling my body with a boatload of alcohol and, Lord knows what else and acting a fool, Here I am. Here I am ghost hunting in a house. It's weird how your life comes a full circle on that sort of thing.
Right.
I used to be so wild and do so many crazy things, and now I'm walking around with scientific instruments trying to figure out if what touched me. That's really what it is. I'm going to ask you. There's a couple other things. I want to get to my last questions with you. I want to do a series of fun questions with you to kind of lighten it up after.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna say the reason that I do this is because I've had things unmistakable that happen to me that I can't answer. So when I go into a house, quote unquote, chasing ghosts, I'm not truly chasing. I'm just chasing the idea of what happened to me that day. The
Right.
day when I was touched and grabbed and pulled when nobody was there, and that's kind of always stuck in my mind. And what was all the weird stuff that happened? Why did I have to have a priest come to a house because I truly felt it was unsafe for my family, and maybe it is that I don't mean to dramatize it. I'm just telling you how I felt at the time.
Yeah.
As a concerned father and a person who loves my family, I'm the protector of my family. I had a priest come in, and I felt so. I'm always chasing that sort of idea of what was that moment. Well, if I could help somebody else and if I could capture that moment from and really see, like, are people full of it out there? And I don't mean that in a bad way, but these people who make all these there's a lot of really good, reputable paranormal places, entities here in our town even. And I don't mean any disrespect to any of them. I'm just simply saying I want to see it for myself.
Right.
So I would love to go on any investigations anyone would let me go on, but I don't mean I don't want to invite myself, but I'm saying, like, I want to go. Take me to the place that you guys say is there's claims, and I want to see what you see. I want to look at the devices you're looking at,
Yeah.
and you tell me why it works and what it is, and tell me what I can do to be more credible and make people feel comfortable like myself in this, because I'm not scared. I am scared of certain things. I'm not scared to go in this room or that room. I'm not scared to go in the basement downstairs just because people say it's, and even if it feels funny. But doesn't a basement feel funny when you're down there by yourself anyways when it's dark? But there are things that frighten me. I mean, I'm deeply religious. I whether a person believes this or not, I'm terrified of all the true. If I believe there is true demonic entities, I believe there is true evil out there. But I feel that the ghost, the paranormal world, and investigating, I feel like it further proves what the Bible says. This is my theory that that there truly is good, there truly is evil, there truly is something going on out there. And that's kind of my life work. But why do you do it? I mean, that I know that it can be a loaded question. Why do you continue to put your shoes and pants and shirt on and get all your equipment and go to a location at night? What is it for you?
I'll go to location any time of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I do it because I want to separate the real from the fiction.
Yeah, for sure.
And so where I do believe that there is demonic and evil and malevolent and all that, the chances of running into that stuff is so small.
Yeah.
I do believe in the religious aspects of it. I do believe in approaching each paranormal situation from every direction, whether it's metaphysical, religious, scientific, all that stuff.
Yep.
So I do. I want to separate the real from the fiction, and all this like hubbub around Zach Baggins. I mean, the guy can go into a 12-year-old girl's princess birthday party and still get possessed.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you read in the Bible about the evil stuff, you read historical stuff about demons, and it's not just Christianity.
No, not at all.
There's demons in other religious aspects. There's demon in historical aspects.
Right. There's
You
the
read
jinn,
about the
there's
bad
all these different things. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you read about the stuff in like Greek mythology and all that other stuff. It's not very black and white. There's so many gray areas.
Yeah.
But one kind of constant is it like if you're dealing with an evil energy or a demonic entity, they're not going to play parlor games.
Yeah.
You know you're going to get messed up if that's what you're dealing with, you know.
Yeah, they're not there to move grandma's little thimble or whatever.
Right,
you know? Like,
right.
They're not here to play. They're down to clown. They're gonna get upset.
They're there to mess things up. And so you know, I mean, there are documented cases of, you know, demonic stuff, but no, I want people to feel comfortable in their own living space.
Yeah.
And so if I'm doing a residential case, I've told you this before, when I go in and I say my number one question is, where is your level of fear? Are you afraid for your safety or that your life is in danger or anything like that? And people are usually like, no. And I say, okay, is your level of fear that you're just creeped out because you have a dead dude living in your house with you?
Right.
Because essentially that's what a ghost is. You just got a dead person just kind of sharing your space. And most people kind of think about that. They take a little time, they mull it over. They're like, yeah, it's really not afraid. I'm creeped out.
Right.
Because this is crap from the movies, not real life. You know? And once you get past that, you can work with that. You can, you know, start thinking logically, start critically thinking about, well, just because my Mountain Dew can went from the kitchen counter to the bathroom counter while I was out in the garage.
Yeah.
That's not a demon that does that. You know,
No.
like, you know, so
it's the same thing that makes me lose my keys every single day. It's like it's really me. Like it's really the most paranormal thing that happens in this home is me losing my phone and my keys every 5 to 10 minutes.
You know, we do weirder crap than any ghost is ever going to do, because I had a buddy when I was in college. I was heading out the door to get in my car, and I wish I could chalk something this stupid up to something paranormal. But I was going to a class. We were in the same class together. He had called me about an assignment for that class or something. So I'm talking to him. I'm getting my books in my bag and everything. I was going to SEC at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I get out to the car and I throw my bag in, and all of a sudden I say, where's my phone? Dang it. Check my pockets, look at my bag. And now I'm starting to panic because I'm starting to be late, right?
Right.
He's still talking to me. What the heck? I can't find my phone. He starts to hear the panic in my voice. He's like, what's wrong, dude? I'm like, dude, I can't find my phone and I got to get to school.
Yeah.
He goes, hello? I said, stop messing with me. I got to find my phone.
Yeah.
He goes, hello? I'm like, dude, really, don't play with me right now.
Right.
So finally I realized that I'm looking for my phone while I'm talking to him on my phone.
You're holding it the whole time.
Wish that the stupid crap that we do could be blamed on, you know.
Yeah, like, for sure.
I was possessed that day. That's why I didn't realize that I was such an idiot. Like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, like, I mean, the thing is, I think my number one deal is doing stuff like that with the public, the general public, because I do business cases, I do residential cases. Is making them feel comfortable in their own living space or their own business space or whatever. Yeah. And letting them know they can coexist.
And that's awesome. And that is a very good reason to do it, you know. I mean, like, just talking to you, if I hadn't talked to you prior, I would say it seems like this guy is in it for all the right reasons. Like you really do want to help. And I think those out there that are just wanting to catch stuff for their YouTube or any of this, I would say to you, try harder. Like do it for better reasons.
Yeah.
Like I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the entertainment value. I mean, it is entertaining. Ghost Adventures is very entertaining, especially if you like. But it's entertaining to me I like the historical stuff where maybe they're not getting but at least you're looking at a location that I'll probably never make it to.
Yeah.
Be it I don't have the funds, we're not traveling there, whatever. But
Don't ever say that, though. I mean,
yeah,
I was lucky enough last October to get to Salem and the Lizzie Borden house, which I thought would only end up on my bucket list to stay there, but I got to see both places and they were wonderful. So
well, I'm trying
to say that.
I'm trying to talk my wife into going to Philadelphia for a family trip next year, but then making a trip over to Gettysburg because I'm also a history dork and a really big Civil War dork. I read books about. I don't know. It's just fascinating to me. We had a family member in our family tree who was in the Civil War, and I believe even died in the Civil War, and did different stuff. And I don't know. I've always been kind of. But I want to go there. Obviously, Philadelphia is full of. I know we're kind of pushing it on time. Philadelphia is full of all sorts of not just haunted, but just talk about the history. If you love history, why not want to go to the city of brotherly love? Go run up the stairs like Rocky and all that. So I doubt it's going to happen. It's a hard sell to my wife because the East Coast is expensive too. But hopefully we get to go there. But I do have a friend who lives out there, so maybe he'll let us stay in his basement or sleep in his car or something.
Yeah.
But all right, Jason. So we are getting close on time. I do have some questions I want to ask you, and these are not very serious questions by any means. But I would like you to, if you want to pass, you can. There's nothing raunchy or ridiculous. This is just something I like to do. So I can cover the do you believe in ghosts thing, I think, pretty good with you. But if you were a food, what would you say you'd identify as?
A food?
Yeah. Like if your pronoun was food and you were, what would you identify as?
A steak.
A steak. There you go. Who doesn't like it? Would you be a medium rare steak? Would you be a rare? Oh yeah, you like it like I do, don't you? You like it seared and mooing. That's how I like it. That's where the flavor is. So if it's safe,
T-bone.
Yeah, absolutely. Right on. Do you like a lot of seasoning on it? Do you like to use?
I do.
Well, now can you say it? I can't. Is it Worcester
sauce?
Is that what it's called? What is it actually called? Worcestershire sauce?
Yeah, no. Worcester. Yeah, now you got all messed up.
It's fun to say because I haven't met a single human being that says it the same.
Yeah, you got me all messed up now.
We call it W sauce at my house. Give me the W sauce, and then it's like, oh yeah, we know exactly.
That's funny.
Let's see, I got you covered on that. Do you watch professional wrestling at all, or have you ever? And who was your favorite professional wrestler?
I used to back when it was WWF.
Yeah.
And I always loved the Ultimate Warrior, and I got to see him when he came to Lincoln. And,
same here.
Yeah, was that
Pershing.
the match? Yeah, when he knocked down Andre.
I was there, man.
Dude,
that dude was amped, man. What an animal! Like he would just run to the ring. He'd be all winded, but then you couldn't tell. Like when you watch documentaries now, they're like, yeah, man, the Warrior was burned as soon as he got to the ring. But then he's running around, he's shaking the ropes, clotheslining. Man, what a great time.
I think Andre was drunk that night though too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Warrior was my guy, and Roddy Piper.
Yeah,
I loved Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper was great. I was always a Macho Man guy. I just felt like Randy Savage was like just in my head. Oh yeah. But he was just the epitome of like a wrestler. Like if you had to put together a professional wrestler, I would say he's definitely one guy that you'd point at and go, oh yeah, that guy for sure. Yeah. But he was like mild mannered in his regular life. When he was just Randy Popo, you know, he was like just a regular guy, you know, loved his animals and a real soft spoke. I think he even found religion later on. But you know, I just felt Randy Savage. I always liked Hulk Hogan, of course. You know, I was a Hulkamaniac. I was going for the Warrior when with WrestleMania 6. That was like that was like the biggest pay-per-view of my childhood. And we got it for my best friend and I. Our birthdays were close to each other, and it was always in April. So that was like our first major pay-per-view, and it was like, what a match, you know, the double clothesline. The Warrior beats Hulk Hogan. It was, you know, he's holding 2 belts at the end. What a awesome time to watch wrestling. Man, that's cool though. I love asking people because I'm still a wrestling fan. I know it's not real, but it's so fun to watch. And these people are putting their lives on the line. I mean, they're doing these moves. They get hurt all the time. I mean, it's very fun and it's entertaining watching, you know, guys in spandex who are ripped out and everything tell a story too. They're just so interesting. Right. They're like the coolest carnival workers you'll ever see.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like wrestling's awesome, but you don't still watch it now?
No, when the storylines started getting really, really stupid, I kind of like fell out of it.
Yeah.
When it was a WWF, I mean, that was fun. Like me and Gene Okerlund would do the interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby the Brain Heenan was on the call, you know, with Gorilla Monsoon. Man, what great times!
That was when it was fun. It was it was like a guy's soap opera type thing, you know. I mean,
exactly.
That's what it was fun. Yeah,
exactly. So let's see. One last. Okay, I'll ask you this. So I'm always curious about people. Are you creamy crunch or allergic to peanut butter? What's your are you allergic to peanut butter?
No,
do you like creamy or
like,
crunchy?
It depends. I think I like both of them equal. I just have to switch off.
I love crunchy, man. But nobody else in the house does, so I always have to have like a separate jar. but you know, with my I'm on Weight Watchers now. I've been losing a bunch of weight, and with my current diet, oh crap, I can't eat a bunch of peanut. I used to just scoop it out. Like I would eat the whole thing if I could.
I'm a peanut butter addict.
Yeah, it's so good.
I put it on my apples and my bananas, and then I end up like having a glass of milk, so I always eat a couple extra spoonfuls after. I love peanut butter.
My last question is this: is Elon Musk a robot from another galaxy?
Elon Musk is something. I'm just not going to say.
I don't want him to shoot lasers at my family or anything. I probably shouldn't even ask this question, but I'm convinced he's a robot. I've listened to all these interviews, and I'm convinced that he's just an alien robot who is here, almost like a gray, and they're just here to. I don't even know. I don't know what his business is. But it's wild what he says and what they're doing right now.
When he speaks, you would expect him to sound a little more intelligent than he does.
Yeah, for being that guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he surprises me. I don't know. He's kind of an enigma.
He is. It's like he's pretending to be human, but he's not doing it well.
And he's kind of a hoe.
Yeah, he is. He is kind of a hoe. Well, man, I really do. We've run out of time here. I really do appreciate this. I hope that we can have another interview sometime.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to. I would love to talk to you and Tayden just personally and build a better friendship with you guys. Yeah. Maybe someday I can go on on something with you guys, an investigation.
I was just gonna say,
I would love that.
We're gonna have to take you on location with us.
I would love that so much. I just want to see how I'm meeting all these people talking about this. I'd love to see how you guys do things and learn from you guys because I truly do want to learn. But thank you so much. This has been another, I believe, super interview. And you've just been awesome, man. It's been really cool to meet you and get to the privilege of talking to you. So thank you very much.
It's been an honor being on the show. Thank you for the invite.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And, with that being said, everybody, just continue to tune in and do the grassroots movement here. Keep telling everybody about the show. I don't care about being famous. I don't care about any of that stuff, but I do want some reason for why I'm doing some of this content. So I hope people listen, and I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Thank you.